Good morning, angel mommies and daddies. Um, I wanted to get with you guys this morning because I got a message that's very, very important to all of us that are on this journey after having lost a child or, God forbid, more than one child. I want to introduce myself. My name is Amy Fulmer. I am an angel parent, like those of you that are tuning in, and also people that are tuning in that are just interested in how to support parents, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles that have lost children. It's not isolated. This podcast is not isolated to just parents. I want to be very clear on that. Also, it can even apply to pets. Um, Pets are part of our family too. So, my son died June 1st of 2014. He was 19 years old. He died at home. And I am now 12 years in my grief walk. I have a lot to say about this topic. And what my hopes are is that I can help you guys that are on all walks of your journey in all phases. Because when my son died, I felt so very alone, and the resources were not what they are today. And one of the things that I grappled with was finding a community of parents that I could get some healing from. And, the online communities had just started, the grief groups and whatnot. But I found those very overwhelming, and having to interface with people, I was not up to it. I couldn't even go to a bereavement group in my community because it was too much. So this is a podcast aimed at a little bit different, is to help parents that are grieving just hit the on button, hear a voice of someone who knows your pain in your heart, okay? That is the premise of this podcast. It's also to share my journey. So I'm going to be posting 1 or 2 a week as I get the inspiration to share what I deem to be very, very important healing information, messages, my journey. And the other thing, too, that I want to be very clear is I refer in my book and in this body of work is the grief walk. The grief walk begins the moment you see your deceased child. Okay, it doesn't really start before then. The moment you see your deceased child, it's that's the game changer. And that's when your grief walk starts, and it lasts the entirety of your life. When you are in pain, and yes, you're going to feel a lot of pain, you will be desperate for just even an ounce of grief relief. I call it grief relief in my body of work. If any of these podcasts bring you an ounce of grief relief, you're winning, because that means you've taken one step of grief relief. So each one of these podcasts, you can view them in any order you want. I did put them numerically so you can refer back to a message that maybe stands out to you. But each message will be a standalone message. Now, today I want to talk about something that's very painful but very real. And I'm going to say that it is essential that after you start your grief walk and your child has passed, you have a responsibility to guard your heart. And you may say, well, I don't understand. My heart's already been broken. My child's dead. I get that. I really get it. But here's where we're going with this. Your heart is not just broken and shattered. It's like a bazooka blew through it. It's opened. It's raw. It's bleeding. Even to this day, 12 years into my grief walk, I have days where I can just feel the blood oozing out of my heart. So what am I meaning that you've got to guard your heart? Okay, now this is, just stay with me here for a second. We live in a world of light and dark. now. And we also live in a world where communication is instant via social media, the internet, messages fly around, people fly around. Um, it's almost overwhelming because I grew up pre-internet and there was space. You had a little bit more space. There's no space today. Everybody's all over everybody. And when you have hit the moment where you see your child deceased, your heart is now in a place that needs to be protected. Why, Amy? Why? Why would you say that? Okay. Let's take an example that happened to me. I was about 6 years into my grief walk and I met a person. I will not say the name of this person. I'm not going to get personal. This is not about me getting personal. This is to give an illustration. This person knew my pain intimately. He knew what I was trying to accomplish. He knew that I was in my grief walk. I told this person that, I don't know if I'm even capable of having any type of meaningful relationship because my heart's already broken. And if you want to come into my life and, break it further, then please find another person. And I was assured and promised that that would not happen. Well, as you could guess, this person is a narcissist. And I'm not getting into that. I'm giving an example of what happened to me. This person intentionally hurt me in the places where he knew my vulnerability existed. He knew where the wounds were, and he went in for the kill. I will say, and I'm not getting in, this is not for me to get personal about what happened to me, but I've got to use this as a real life illustration. This person knew I was grieving. They knew that my heart was broken, and they actually exploited my situation as an angel mom. Now, I do feel there will be a special place in hell for people that do this to angel parents. And let me be very, very clear. Any human, male, female, family member, non-family member, community member, it could be anybody in your life, is aware that you have lost a child and they choose to continue to hurt you knowingly and sometimes even unknowingly. And that's one of the reasons why I try to keep my comments off in my show, because I don't know who's going to say what. And sometimes people don't even know. They're kind of checked out. And especially if they've never lost a child, they say stupid stuff. It's just the way human nature goes. I'm very protective over this podcast. I'm very protective over your hearts. I can't take a chance of someone coming in and saying something that might hurt one of you guys, because then we all hurt. So back to my little story here. I learned that I should have never opened my heart up. I wasn't ready. Now, granted, I was 6 years into my grief walk. I didn't realize how vulnerable I still was. So let me use the word vulnerable. I am not a relationship counselor. I am not a marriage counselor. But what I am here to tell you is that you can't count on anyone to protect your heart. You've got to do it yourself. That doesn't mean you go stone cold. It doesn't mean that you don't love. I'm not saying that. But if I was queen for a day, and I'm not, but I'm going to throw this out there as a rhetorical. If I was a newly bereaved parent, meaning, first year, 2, 3, I wouldn't, looking back, mine was 6 years in. I knew I wasn't ready to interface with people I didn't know had my best interest at heart. Sometimes we don't know, or sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes the people closest to us will smile in our face and turn around and stab you in the back. If you are a newly bereaved angel parent, you can't take that, okay? You guys, you can't take it. You don't have the staying power, bandwidth. Your heart is held together with spit and glue. You may or may not know that. And you would be amazed at how some of the closest people to you, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, it could happen, but I am here to guard your grief walk. I am here to give you a look around the corner that you haven't walked through yet. And I don't want people to go through what I went through because I didn't know. There was nothing really like my podcast when I was newly grieving. Um, YouTube had not evolved that, and I just didn't know where to go to look. So that's the other request. If you guys find this content helpful, please share this video, get it out to parents. Um, I also have some resources for you guys in the description. If you hit the description box and go down to more, you're going to see a link to my parent survival checklist. That checklist has been downloaded in over 70 countries. It actually went viral when I first put it out. Now, that is there for you, and that is a resource to help anyone you know that's lost a child get it in their hands. It's a support tool. The other resource is my book on Amazon, Don't Trip Potato Chip. It's a book. It's almost like an autobiography of my journey, starting the night my son died. Okay, so it's how to survive the early days, how I survived the early days, and actually how to connect your heart with your child. Because when they quote unquote die, their love never dies. Your love never dies. That's eternal. That is eternal. And whether and this is not a religious podcast, please do not get me wrong, but the Bible, it's all over the Bible and all other sacred texts that love is eternal, and it crosses over timelines. It crosses over boundaries. And you all know what I'm talking about. You all have been thinking about a loved one and the phone rings or you'll get a text. This is an energetic hit because the two of you are communicating without words, and you have this ability with your deceased child. But that, my book teaches how that worked for me, because when my son died, I didn't really believe that. I didn't disbelieve it, but I just didn't believe anything like that. So I don't want to get off the path here. I want you guys to understand that you have to draw boundaries. And if you sense that someone is coming into your sphere that you don't know, and then you do what I did, which was talk very intimately about the details of the death of my son in my heart, share with someone I realized I couldn't trust. I didn't need that extra pain. It really set me back because it opened all kinds of old wounds. It set back my healing, and I don't want that to happen to you guys. So please like, subscribe, and share to this video if you find this content helpful. And I really love you guys. And you can also set a bell for notifications for when I post. I don't really have a posting schedule, but it will be 1 or 2 episodes a week. All right, you guys, take care. And we'll be talking soon. Bye-bye.